Amazing. We are back after that wonderful song break. And now it's time for us to have a look at what our newspaper is saying this wonderful morning. It's a reason for us to thank the Lord. Also, we get to know how to pray and just to commit the nation before the Lord. So this is Hope at Dawn, the newspaper review segment. Once again, karibuni sana.
All right, and we start off with the Standard newspaper this morning, and they go with, of course, this is a story that grabbed the attention of the nation yesterday, those who follow the news, when the CS Health appeared before the Health Committee in Parliament, and there were outbursts, and it was a shouting match, so to speak. And so they go with the headline, Duale, bully in chief. That is what they are going with this morning. There is a photo there of Duale and the member there. And so public spat, tempers flared in Parliament as Health Cabinet Secretary Aden Duale clashed with MPs during a stormy Health Committee session, trading insults and accusations of intimidation. The dramatic exchange, which saw lawmakers walk out in protest, laid bare deep tensions over the troubled Social Health Authority, with MPs accusing the minister of arrogance and contempt, while he dismissed them as junior members unfit to question him. Read that story. It's covered on page 6, and I get to see what actually transpired yesterday when Duale appeared before the committee. Still on the front page, our father has anger problems. So arrow attack, you remember that incident?
Yes.
Relatives described Kithuka Kimunyi as a troubled loner whose actions hinted at mental instability. The story that is covered on page 4 and page 5 inside the Standard newspaper this morning. And MPs accuse Ogamba of misleading House on capitation. That is also inside the Standard newspaper. And the DCI reveals how man tricked and killed GSU officer at State House. So more details are emerging over that attack. And so it's covered inside the Standard newspaper this morning. Manufacturers borrow 17 billion shillings more on low interest market. So that's another story that you can be able to read. And how Gen Z uprising exposes cracks in Africa's security model, and we are saying this is being replicated across Africa, and you can read that as well, and what is being reported. The county fights malnutrition despite high food productivity. That is in as far as Nakuru County is concerned, and KEBS ramps up partnerships to boost quality and safety. So read that as well. And looking at some sports news, there is a story here, Kimosop Chebet win Kericho cross-country meet. That's on the Standard newspaper. And inside the newspaper, there is the Enterprise pullout this morning. Why MFIs are under pressure to innovate. It's on page 4 and page 5. And IFC eyes non-banking lenders to broaden MSMEs credit. That story is covered on page 3. And then regulator probes rise in dormant SACCO members. So again, read that story. It's covered on page 6.
All right. And now coming to the Daily Nation, of course, the top story here is still about this tragic incident that happened, killer linked to State House. So more information is coming in, and pages 4 and 5 are covering it. And just to read the highlight here, it says, murder slain GSU officer Ramadan Matanka was the son of a former State House employee. He first worked at the state residence after completing high school in 2019 during a cleanup campaign where he met and befriended Kithuka Kimunyi. And later on, he joined the elite squad guarding the premises where his life was cut short. So more is coming up. The story keeps building up. That is on this story, and pages 4 and 5 has covered it in detail. So you can definitely have a look at it. And I see the twist is tragic end to unusual friendship forged at president's residence. Of course, still more information coming up, and we will still continue to keep you up to date with this particular story. But you've mentioned also the other angle of it, talking about mental health issues, because that's also something real that also needs to be addressed. The fact that he's being linked to have had mental illness, or rather just not stable when it comes to his mental state. So a lot is coming up, a lot of questions brewing, but we hope that we shall get to the bottom of it. More stories on the top page here on the Daily Nation is covering Ruto outlines plan to modernize KDF, and President pledges new military bases, upgrade of equipment, and addressing soldiers' welfare to boost war on cybercrime and also terrorism. A story covered on page 7. And of course, that is with regard to the title that he holds of being the Commander-in-Chief of the Armed Forces. Moving on, I see most popular senior school pathway, a story that has been covered extensively on page 7. Science, technology, engineering, and mathematics, known with the abbreviation of STEM, is the most popular pathway among grade 9 learners. And some 569,000 students have opted to study STEM in senior school. Another 437,000 have chosen social sciences, and some 121,000 students want to specialize in art and sport. Officials have promised a smooth transition to grade 10 next year. Some 9,000 public secondary schools have been clustered into 4 categories, that is C1 all the way to C4. And this is a story covered on page 7. It's interesting because back then people would avoid the science, technology, engineering, and mathematics. It would seem scary, even difficult. But then right now, the young people, the Gen Zs, and even the alphas are realizing that this is where job opportunities are. This is what will keep you up there. And so a whooping 569,000 students are going for this. And I'm sure that also this has come with advice from parents, letting them know, take this route because you're most likely to grab a good job opportunity. But that is it. We wish all these candidates the very best. And I know that prayers are ongoing for those grade 9s. And moving on, I see benefits here. Push for sacked civil servants to receive pension. That is on the benefits sector. Public servants who are sacked will be eligible for pension and compensation if MPs enact a proposed bill. It seeks to legislate pension as a right. Page 8 is covering that. Page 6 on the health sector, Duale battles SHA corruption, claims by MPs. And also lastly, on the conflict, Kenyans who went to war for Putin speak out. And that's a story covered on page 3. Lastly, it's a story here that has got my attention on the Healthy Nation today. A detained patient, a crippled Nairobi facility, and 78,000 shillings hospital bill. You can look at that in more details on the Daily Nation Health Nation pullout. And that's it for the Daily Nation.
All right, let's look at the Business Daily and what they are reporting this morning. KQ faces cash penalties for traveler flight delays. COMESA seeks compensation for trip delays. KQ cited for the highest Africa cancellations. That is quite something. That's the headline on the front page, which is also covered on page 2. And then NCBA shares hit all-time high on Standard Bank buyout offer. So you can read that. Shares of NCBA Group hit an all-time high of 75 shillings and 25 cents on news of its potential acquisition by Africa's largest lender, Standard Bank Group, in a deal that could dramatically alter the structure and ownership of Kenya's banking sector. It's on the front page and also on page 2 inside the Business Daily. And the Central Bank of Kenya increased gold holdings by 40.8% to 238 million shillings in the financial year ended June 2025, signaling a renewed push to diversify the country's foreign reserves amid global economic uncertainty. And then 8 directors of agricultural farm Kakuzi, including the chief executive Christopher Flowers, have lost a bid to block the Capital Markets Authority from investigating them over alleged conflict of interest and financial impropriety. That is also covered inside the Business Daily. And the Kenyan passport has fallen 6 more places from the global ranking of the most powerful travel documents to 73rd, owing to the lack of reciprocal visa waiver agreements with other countries. It's covered on page 4, touching on the country's economy as well. So you can read that on page 4. And then an article by Nderito Mureithi on page 9, defining us versus them allows politicians to rally ethnicities to fight with imaginary enemies. That's an article on page 9. And the life segment, scholarship to career, how Kenyan students crack EU job market. That is in as far as the Business Daily is concerned. This morning I wanted to see ile ya Taifa Leo.
Yes.
Ile ni ya Kiswahili, sio? Ile ulikuwa unabobea pale.
Wapi?
Kiswahili. Wanasema drama bungeni. Ndivyo wanavyosema pale. Duale asema mbunge anachemka kwa sababu za mgongano wa maslahi. Kibagendi adai waziri anafyonza umma. Uhasama kati ya waziri wa afya Eden Duale na mbunge wa Kitutu Chache Kusini Anthony Kibagendi ulijitokeza waziwazi Jumanne waliporushiana cheche za maneno wakilaumiana moja kwa moja bungeni. Kikao hicho kilitibuka baada ya naibu mwenyekiti wa kamati pamoja na wanachama kuondoka. Ni habari kamili ukurasa wa 2. Pia naona Nasir akosolewa kuhusu tamasha na mpinzani wa Bia ajitaja mshindi. Ni katika uchaguzi nchini Cameroon.
Amen. Naona Poze kidogo amekuja kusema jameni,
muendelea
tuharakisheni baada.
Sawa basi Poze. Sawa basi.
Ameona nikana kwamba vile unazama sijui kama tutaibuka. But anyway, that's it for the newspaper review. Now you have an idea of what has been covered across all our newspapers in the nation. So, you know, grab a copy of your favorite. And now let's have a look at the video of the day.